Hello, here once more with a quick track guide, this time for the Fuji Speedway in Japan. Bongo there on Thursday. So yes, I do hope this helps you in some way, and enjoy. Thank you for watching. Okay, so we're powering down here, flat out in 6th gear. Get yourself over to the left, and then you want to brake kind of where the there's a speaker system there just before the 100-meter board. Round about where that is. It's very, very difficult to see when you're going fast, so essentially you want to try and brake just before the 100-meter board, a couple of car lengths. All the way down to 1st gear, stay over to the left, and then a very late turn in here because the idea is to straighten the exit angle as much as you possibly can. So turning about this point here, rail brake in, looking for that exit curb. Once you're about this point here, middle of the corner, you can go pretty much full throttle and try and control. The car needs to rotate on the throttle at this track, so you want the traction control reasonably low so you can use the slip angle of the back tires slightly to get yourself to rotate out of some of the corners. So when you are doing that, full throttle, you can drift the car right out, but try to avoid going beyond the point where the curb angle changes slightly. You've got the normal red and white curb, and then you've got a slight raised bit. You hit that raised bit, your traction control will kick in, which will stop you accelerating. So out to about this point here, ideally, no further than that. Obviously full power once again. Bottom along down here, all the way over to the right, just before the 50 board. Drop down to 3rd gear, that's what I use anyway, and turn in nice and early because you need to use this curb. In this particular car you can bang along the green bit, others you might be better staying just on the red and white part of the curb. So you're trailing the brakes in slightly until you get to this point here, and then straight back on the power, full power. Then use allow the traction control and your finesse with the steering to control your exit angle, and you can use, if need be, all the curb on the exit here. And then rather than trying to get back over here, just leave your car here and use this green part as much as you can, because you're essentially then just minimizing the distance you have to travel. So fully accelerating up to this point, and then here there's no need, you shouldn't need to brake here, just a lift and possibly a downshift. I think I'm normally in 4th at that point, and then I downshift to 3rd around about here. Just lift off the throttle, let the car kind of coast in. This car is a bit of a pig to turn, this Mercedes, but others will be a little bit more agile. But your objective is to drift back in after you've drifted out, so that you clip this inner sort of egg carton type curb on the right. Once you've done that, you can fully accelerate again, drift out to about the middle of the road, but then try and get yourself back across as much as you can. As soon as you've got the car straight from that previous turn, pretty much, you're back on the brakes, and in my case down to 2nd gear. Again, trail brake in, and you're wanting to get both your left tyres onto this red and white curb. You can use the red area to the left, but it will bounce the car around a little bit, so it's up to you whether that's something you want to deal with on a per lap basis, or whether it's something you want to avoid. Anyway, once you've got to this point in the corner, again, you're back on full power, drifting all the way out. You shouldn't need to lift there. You can use the exit curb, and close to that curb as you can, drift out and back in again, and then let the car drift all the way out to the left. And the braking point is pretty much just after that red bit of curb, or the Goodyear sign that we've just driven underneath. That red bit of barrier, sorry, orange barrier. You know what I mean, that bit there. So yeah, just after that, brake all the way down to 1st gear. Now this is where it gets kind of tricky, this particular track. There's an awful lot of, like I said before, using the power of the engine to sort of slide the car around a little bit. Even with this new tire model, you can still do that to a certain extent. So I've got the traction control turned down to 2. 2 on the overall traction control, and then the slip and the cut at 1. Because otherwise this car just doesn't really want to turn an awful lot. So you're braking down here, the first gear, quite a late turn in, but try to clip the red and white part of the curb here. And then this is another track where using your vision really matters, because you constantly need to be looking for the next point you want to travel to. So here you want to be traveling over there, but again you can cut this quite a lot, put your wheels on the grass. You can see I've already done that a few times while I was practicing. So yeah, right hand wheels kind of on the white line, and left hand wheels on the grass seems to be okay, particularly in this car. Other cars you might have to use a little bit less curb, but you're just trying to straighten everything out as much as you possibly can. From this point here, as soon as you can see that curb come into view from your A pillar, you can go full chat, full power, and cut this one an awful lot. You get up to second gear. I just stay in second gear from this point on. All the way over to the left. Touch the curb if you want to, but don't go over the sort of serrated part at the edge. Then trail brake into here, and again you're just being very patient to get the car into the right. Now these serrated parts, you can use them if you need to, but it does unsettle and wobble and vibrate the car around quite a lot. So for consistent smooth lap times, it might be better to avoid those, but for outright fastest lap possible in qualifying, for example, then there's no harm in using those from time to time. They just do unsettle the car, and it becomes a little bit tiresome fighting the force feedback's quite aggressive over curbs in this game, so it becomes a little bit frustrating. So maybe try to stay off those, but if you do go onto them, it's not the end of the world. But what is important here is, like I say, being patient and trying to look out for the exit, which is difficult to see here because it drops a bit down a hill. But as soon as you can see anything, drifting out. Now this is another curb where you don't want to use the serrated part ideally, because that can put you into a bit of a slide because you're full throttle at this point. So users up to about this point of curb, but try to stay off the little serrated part down here. And again, full throttle. And then you start to brake at the end of this curb on the left, just as you've gone past it. Now that feels way too early when you initially do it, but if you try to brake later than that, it tends to compromise this next left-hand corner. So yeah, brake in a straight line as much as you can as that curb on the left ends. Let the car drift out to the right here. I still stay in second gear for all this, and I'm in first now, but this bloody big tank won't move if I'm in second gear. And again, patience, trail braking, looking at the apex you're trying to get to. It will disappear from view behind the A pillar, but with a bit of practice you should get it so about this point here it comes back into view. You cut across it, and again drift out to the right. Again, use the curb. That's okay to use the serrated curb on that part there. And then back over to the left. Still in second. I think you can just about get up to third at this point, and then brake back down into second gear. And the same technique, all these corners are essentially the same. It's just a case of getting out wide as far as you can, braking, trail braking to get the car to turn, and being very patient, trying to get a good angle. Again, this one's easier because you can actually see the exit at this point, and then you're just getting on the power as early as you can and using the rotation to get the car out. So go around again, and I'll a bit quicker than that one, but I'll still try and explain what I'm at least trying to do. Yeah, it's quite a tricky little track, this. So yeah, 6th gear, braking just before the 100, where that board is. Down to first, turn in. And just before the 50. Missed that a little bit there. Right over to the right, down to 2nd gear. Okay, wait until we get under the Goodyear sign. On the brakes, looking for the apex. I'm looking for the exit. There it is. Up to third, back down to second. Nice and patient. Some patience again here. And full power. So yeah, it's all about kind of being very, very delicate with the throttle, the brakes, and the steering. So I think it's a very tricky track, this, but that's the general idea. Just to, as always, do everything as smoothly as you can, and plan ahead by looking where you want to go next. That makes things tremendously easier. So yeah, I hope that's of some help. I'll put a quicker lap on now, and thank you very much for watching. See you next time.
That time was a 1:43.09. Lap 1:42.63.